It's been a while since we did a 5 biggest mistakes everyone makes in Civilization 6 video, so let's get to it. These 5 mistakes are meant to be for optimized plays, so they aren't cataclysmic, they weren't found in the Mayan prophecies or anything you should really worry about. They are, however, things that can cripple your game, especially in the early game, where it's the most important stage of a game, especially for deity. Subscribe and hit the bell if you do enjoy, it helps out the channel a ton, and you won't miss out on future content or streams. The first mistake is the early build order a lot of people like to use. This isn't going to be my daily routine of shitting on scouts for being the absolute trash waste of sexual thrusting I believe them to be. You can build scouts. I personally don't like them, but if you do find value in finding every civ and trying to get more tribal villages and city-states, then building one is fine. 2, I feel is a little dangerous, and if you're building 3, I'm whipping out the bat signal and sending your ass to Arkham Asylum. When it comes to buildings though, you have the watermill, walls, and granary, which are all found in the ancient era. And since people really don't build walls early because of their expense and lack of yields, or even a unit that it produces, the only time I've really seen people advocating for building walls really is when there's an aggressive neighbor nearby getting the butt plug shine. But granaries and watermills early on are a waste when you take into account the higher difficulties and the fact the AI most definitely will declare war on you in the first 20 turns in most games, unless they're half a continent away and have better things to do, and since your maps are about as useful as a turn 1 Minecraft map, you don't know who's nearby. Because of that, especially on anything over Emperor, I always start my game building 2 slingers and 1 or 2 warriors for at least 4 to 5 early game units, so that if I do start near someone who's looking at my cities like an oasis after a marathon across the Sahara, then I can go archery, upgrade the slinger, and with 2 archers and 2 warriors, I'm safe enough to build other units or even walls I need, while the 4 units hold off the enemy hordes. If there is no one nearby, then you can stop after building 1 or 2 units and then get the monument or even any of the other buildings you want. That's part of the reason Civ Life or lore, I guess, on why I don't really like scouts. They're good for exploring, sure, but they only have +1 move speed over everyone else, so they're not that much better, and the fact they hit like a used condom and are pretty much useless after the first 50 turns, I would rather have the units, military units, and explore less, get 1 or 2 less tribal villages and envoys, and make sure I'm not caught with my pants down. Now, something to be considered here is that it really does depend on the situation, of course. Getting a turn 2 Void Singers or something and getting the Old God Obelisk gives you enough faith to probably even get religious settlements in most games, which is another city in 20 turns. So the early build order shouldn't be static, as it depends on your surroundings, but if there ever was a specific build order you should go for, then it would be the one where you make sure your defenses are shored up before getting started on building the economy. You will always be behind on the higher difficulties, so being behind by like 100 science or culture isn't that big of a deal, and getting an early defense force is better to at least deter the AI from attacking you. And if it's the lower difficulties, honestly you can build random everything and still probably get away with it. And after finishing that segment, I realized I didn't even talk about barbarians and how the fact that after 1 scout gets back to the encampment, you're going to be dealing with a huge army that makes the Mongols look like the Care Bears. Honestly, that's probably a reason why I love building units as well. Just being able to deal with barbarians, especially if someone like Babylon is in the game, gives you promotions for your units and preventing you from sending out settlers or builders or pillaging stuff or anything like that. So yeah, I like that early build order. It's pretty defensive, pretty safe. You can almost never go wrong with that. The second mistake is going for a swordsman rush. Never mind, that's clickbait. Never go for a built swordsman rush. And it's pretty much the case for any other type of rush aside from maybe horseman or warrior. Building units is expensive, especially when you're building advanced units like just after researching any type of unit like a swordsman, which can take upwards of 10 turns to complete, and at best you're looking at 6 to 7 turns to build if you get the Pantheon and Agoge. The best way to go for a rush is to have some warriors and iron nearby, upgrade them, and then attack whoever's first. This saves you 6 to 7 turns at least, which might be the difference between breaking the AI's back by taking their high population cities and reducing their loyalty pressure to 0 and having them build crossbowmen to one-shot your tier 3 promoted archer. That's absolutely rough. This goes for any unit. Upgrading them is 100 times more effective than building them, not only because of production costs, but because you can train them and have them upgrade with promotions, giving you a stronger starting base, especially with ranged or melee promotions, where the unit gets +7 combat strength, which makes them a freight train in the early game. But the thing on your mind might be, what if I can't upgrade them with a lack of iron or a lack of gold? The iron one is simple, since you kind of need iron to build the units anyway, so you can't take a rain check on iron for swordsmen, unless you want to send an army of the Let Me Solo Her dude from Elden Ring with wooden swords, although that could probably be effective now that I think about it. Anyways, the point is, you need iron anyway, and you're saving 6 to 7 turns at least either way, but But for gold, the thing that building a unit doesn't require, sometimes that can't be helped, but it can in most cases. Settling your second or third cities on a luxury or having an excess of strategics or even gold per turn, you can trade them away to even the AI you're about to attack soon, aside from maybe the strategic resources. Upgrade your army after you get a butt ton of gold, declare war on them, and just like that, you have your luxuries and your gold per turn back after the declaration, since historically it didn't make too much sense to continue trading and giving resources to the person you're trying to conquer. The money is more free than starting a sperm cell crypto NFT rug pull scam, so even that argument is only going to happen 10% of the time if I don't have enough gold to upgrade my units. However, if there really is no way for you to get gold, then you will just have to build the unit. In an ideal world, sure, upgrading is the way to do it, but sometimes you have no choice, it just makes life a lot easier. There's also a reason I feel like horseman rushes are almost useless now, considering that they cost about the same as swordsmen, both production and technologically, but also they can't be upgraded into. It would be nice to have warriors have 2 upgrade paths into horses and swords, but without an upgrade path, the horseman's going to be hard built 100% of the time, unless you're a god mod connoisseur. The problem with that is that with horsemen having to be hard built, the AI is going to have walls built up before you can attack some of the time. And unlike the swordsman, you can't use the battering ram with horses, and catapults are so far away and so weak when attacked. Have fun dealing with crossbows and knights if you decide to go that route. I have exclusive footage of a guy getting his ass handed to him like he talked back to his parents, and oh, what's this? Replay that. Oh my god, he subscribed to the Civ Lifer with his back turned. That's bonus points. You better run. He's coming for you. That's right, by leaving a like and subscribing, you too can unlock the avatar state and bring peace to the world, not to mention getting an extra 6 inches where it matters, and 2, more importantly, not miss out on future content or streams. The next mistake, bigger than the new Stray game, check out my second channel for a review and a Stray on Crack video coming on Sunday, is the Colosseum, or not getting the Colosseum. This giant cylindrical marvel of man is absolutely one of the best wonders in the game. It can give upwards of 10 amenities in the early game where they are hard to come by, not to mention all that culture and the fact it gives these bonuses to all cities within 6 tiles, meaning you can put this in the center of your empire and watch as everyone grumbles about their day job of deleting civilians from life and working the campus and commercial hubs, to ecstatically debating whether Gladius Messi or Julius Ronaldo is the greatest gladiator of all time. Not getting the Colosseum is a huge mistake first and foremost because of the yields, that's true, but also because it is a hard wonder to get, at least for the AI. See, the inner mechanisms of the AI's mind is an enigma. You'd have to get Glenn from The Walking Dead to get an even playing field with them. They're about as effective at playing this game as Season 8 of Game of Thrones was to giving us enjoyment. And with that, and the fact that the Colosseum needs to be adjacent to an entertainment complex with an arena on a flatland tile, and the AI can't think more than what their next move is going to be, isn't uncommon to find the Colosseum in the industrial era. This isn't even taking into account the AI avoids entertainment complexes like the Black Plague, as they value the other districts heavily over the entertainment complex, and you can easily grab the Colosseum and all its buff in the early game with no problem whatsoever. The amenities bonuses are within reach too, as well, since at +3 you can get a 10% boost to everything, that becomes +20% at +5 amenities per city, and while the Colosseum can't do that on its own, it still goes a huge amount towards getting those +3 and +5 amenity bonuses. The city that has the entertainment complex and area should get at least +4, and depending on the luxuries you can grab from trade or working by the mid-game, you can have all your big cities at +3 to +5, giving you a free Geneva bonus to every city in the game, which is incredible. Not getting the Colosseum is almost as big a mistake as working at Blizzard while lactating, and should be built in every game, doubly so if you're playing the Mayans, and don't worry if it's going to take 20 to 30 turns, as long as you have nothing important to build, the AI 99% of the time isn't going to snipe it out of you. Building the industrial zone or Hansa first is a huge mistake. Heck, building it second is a terrible idea as well. Now, as I'm about to get burned at the stake for blasphemy by the Civ community, let me explain. The first district should be a campus 99% of the time, it's obvious, as long as you have a good campus location. It comes earlier, and depending on whether you have a +3 or more adjacency campus, does play a huge role in it, no doubt, but it should be one of the first districts with the government plaza and maybe a couple mountains nearby or other district. You can easily get at the very least a decent campus. But what about after? Well, the commercial hub is 100 times more valuable than the industrial zone. Look at all the yields you get from not just the +2 gold from commercial hubs on a river, which, okay, yeah, you're not buying Twitter with that salary, but it's a help. But instead, look at the trader yields. You can easily get 4 food, 3 production if the capital has Magnus in it, and if you can get an early science alliance, you're looking at 8 gold, 3 science, which is more if you're significantly behind technologically, and other yields depending on other factors, like what districts the AI has, or if you have Kumasai or a policy card, etc. But what about an industrial zone? Especially the Hansa at its cheap 50% cost, not to mention the huge adjacency bonuses it gets with other districts. That's the problem. The industrial zone is about production, and without adjacency, you're looking at maybe +2 production from a workshop, that's it. I'd be more productive watching Netflix while sleeping the entire day. Maybe not Netflix. The catalog is drier than women after you tell them you aren't a Civ Lifer subscriber. Without adjacency, what's the point for industrial zones? The adjacency you can get is, unlike the previous two, much harder to get because you're going to have to build actual districts. You need dams and aqueducts, which are on the opposite side of the tech tree, and the Hansa gets a special adjacency from a specific district. I bet you can guess which one. You might as well build the commercial hub first for any Civ for the bonuses, and then get the industrial zone third to get the production, and since it's probably going to be at least +3 production, you'll be able to get era score for it. Since you have more than enough production to get by anyways early on until you can get the industrial zone, it won't be good until you get aqueducts at least, so it's not worth building until you have a couple districts out to get good adjacency. So yes, an industrial zone first 99% of the time is a waste, and second is almost the same thing unless you somehow get aqueducts and dams first. The only reason I'd build an industrial zone before that is if I have a really good spot maybe besides a government plaza, or beside a government plaza for +3, or I'm playing the Netherlands who can build one adjacent to a river for big daddy yields. Last video's question of the day winner goes to NASA, who decided to take a break from space exploration to talk about their favorite mod and why, and they said Real Strategy mod, which is literally AI plus but better, which I didn't know about actually, so thanks. For today's question, what is something that everyone seems to like doing in Civilization 6 but you absolutely can't? Like me building scouts, for example. Let me know down below and I'll pick the best one for tomorrow's video, which is going to be me playing the Mapuche and giving my capital up to win the game. The final condom broke level of mistake for Civilization 6 is picking the wrong secret society. Secret societies, which I would love to call S without the space, but can't for obvious reasons, is a game mode that I'm sure most people use. It isn't too difficult like Apocalypse mode, nor too game-breaking like Heroes and Legends game mode, and is something even the AI can make use of semi-effectively, so it isn't cheating, it doesn't feel like it, or anything of that nature, but picking the wrong secret society can be crippling. We all know the obvious one, picking Hermetic Order and having no ley alliance nearby, is cataclysmic, but less obvious is the fact that picking something like Owls of Minerva instead of vampires when your capital has no production for a science victory. Owls is probably the overall best secret society for most games since it gives the KGB light, along with an economic and wildcard policy slot, which is massive, don't get me wrong. But in situations where a Twitter user is more productive to society than your capital, I'd go for the vampires and build some vampire castles in high production areas to give you free production and help you win the game faster. This goes for any secret society as each one has its benefits, aside from maybe Hermetic Order, which requires ley lines and you can't see the ley lines, so you either tough it out with no secret society or reload and pick a different one. If you're making a lot of faith, then Void Singers can carry your science and culture. My point is to try to make out the weaknesses you're going to face in winning, and then shoring it up with a secret society like Flex Tape. Then what you should be using, and then shoring it up with a secret society like Flex Tape is what you should be doing or using secret societies for. And if you have no weaknesses to your victory type, just go Hermetic Order for the giggles. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed to not miss out on future content, and click this video in the upper right corner for more. See you there. Peace.